Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. It is morning on the Pacific Coast for me here in Phoenix, Arizona. So wherever you're joining us from, we thank you for taking time out of your very busy days to join myself along with Fernando. It is definitely my pleasure. A little bit about me before I have the honor of introducing him. I am Felicia Gasparo, the Senior Manager of Member Programs for ALPFA National. I have been here, going on, I think 4 years this November. It'll be an outstanding third on-site convention for me coming up here with the precursor to that outstanding experience, one of those programs being LEAD. And Fernando is going to be one of our facilitators and planners for that. He delivers powerful messaging to all of us, myself, every day when I'm, on the calls with him, hoping to get him on site at convention. But he is the lead of ExecuPath, an executive coach, success coach, and super, super gifted communicator. And I'm assuming multiple languages, super exciting. Captivates us all with his intelligence, education, and professional development. We are honored to have him on this live in our circles and on-site at convention again this year for LEAD. Thank you so much, Fernando, for joining me.
Felicia, thank you so much for the warm welcome. I think that's more of an introduction that I deserve, but I'll take it. I will smile. I will take it. I will be happy about it. The one thing that you did not mention that I'll add to the introduction is that I am an electrical engineer. This is a fun fact, who is terrified of electricity. So again, don't hold that against me, but that is my fun fact, an electrical engineer who's terrified of electricity. Happy to be here with you live today, of course, with the ALPFA. I've been a long-time supporter of the organization. And like you mentioned, I have the pleasure of having been with the LEAD program since its inception. Remember the early days when we started having those conversations about what the program should look like, what should the curriculum cover, who should be part of the program. So lots of things to say, good things to say about the program. I myself have attended again since the very first program that was executed. And this year we have other great things to add to the program because we continue to grow, not only in participants, but we continue to grow in the curriculum, the content, the messaging. And I think you'll see a couple of surprises this year when you attend.
Super, super excited. Just talking to some of my coworkers about, how can we figure out how to attend LEAD? How can we double down on our opportunities? Such an outstanding opportunity. And for those of you that have already registered, can't wait to see you. For those of you thinking about it, we hope that you walk across the line after this, after learning a little bit more. And again, if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to any one of us. But let's jump right in. Fernando, you mentioned it a little bit, but I'm going to start with, for myself, for anybody who's wondering, who hasn't had the chance to dive in to any of the content or summary, what is, in a brief summary, ALPFA-LEAD?
Great question, Felicia. So let me start by saying ALPFA-LEAD is right now a 2-day program, Presential, right? 2-day program where we walk the participants through many different topics. However, those topics are all aligned to the methodology of LEAD. What is that methodology, you may ask? Well, it's divided into 6 major pillars because we like to look at the individuals in terms of growth in 6 areas that we believe are very important. And it's a holistic way of learning, I should say. And let me rattle them off real quick for you because we're going to cover things from a wealth creation perspective. Yes, I think that's a very important topic to keep in mind. We're going to talk about business mastery, right? How things operate, right? What do you need to learn about managing a business? How do you become a master in that front? We're going to talk about extrapreneurship. Very important that we added the X instead of entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship. We talk about extrapreneurship, that mindset. How do you go and conquer out there? Whether it's your startup, whether it's internal to an organization, extrapreneurship is the 3rd pillar. The 4th one is professional EQ. We want to make sure that we think about the emotional component in a professional setting. Number 5 is community engagement. And last but absolutely not least, health and wellness. So it's very important for me to mention those 6 pillars because the curriculum revolves around those 6 major areas that we all have to go through in our professional careers and frankly, our personal lives. Now, having said that, I mentioned that initially, this is a 2-day event that we're going to do right before convention. The dates are going to be August 3rd and 4th. But having said that, it doesn't stop there. when we are done with the LEAD program on those 2 days, we're going to move on into, let's call it the alumni component of it. And we have some exciting news for this year, right? So when we go into the alumni component, we are expecting different video series, more content, more resources, more speakers, facilitators throughout the entire year. So this is the first time that we're going to do this after LEAD. Right after LEAD, the alumni component is going to be a major area that we're going to dive into. So very exciting news for this year. Hopefully that gives a high level context.
Yeah, outstanding. And, falling under a couple of our big goals, which I'm sure most of us watching or most of us a part of any professional development organization have: sustainability, growth, making sure that we follow along with all of the sectors and make it as profoundly, resonatable with multiple communities. Outstanding. So things are growing and scaling faster than I can run at this point. So here we go. Thanks.
That is a good problem to have, right?
Thanks for keeping up with us all this time. So that being said, now that we know the 6 pillars that we're, hoping to sustain the program, hoping to elevate the program, along with all of the goals and the mission that ALPFA has and couldn't be done, without our chapters, facilitators, all of our leaders, who can participate in ALPFA LEAD, and sort of what is going to be the prime candidate, in your opinion, for participating in this opportunity?
Absolutely. Great question, Felicia. So the way that we're looking at this is the component where we are going to address topics for individuals. And again, this is not a perfect scenario, but it's the range. So we're looking for individuals that have the 10, 12 plus years of experience, that have been out there and have experience under their belt. Now, this could range from managers all the ways to VPs, right? Why? Because the content has been tailored for that audience in particular. It's not the entry level. We expect people that already have gone through things as managing people, or managing a budget, making sure that they're leading teams. They could be regional, they could be global teams, right? But the idea is that they have experience under their belt, and they are in such a way executives in their own right, right? Now, why don't I use titles? Because a manager in a certain company may mean a completely different thing as a manager in a different company. Titles differ. So I'm going to stick to the definition more of the 10 to 12 plus years, right? Between that range and above, get it to the 18, 20-year mark, but individuals that do have some good experience under their belt and are looking to expand, are looking to grow even further. And we have multiple topics to discuss in that area. So that's the candidate that we're aiming for.
Outstanding. And then also, I love that, because that's also helping ALPFA, hopefully helping all of the participants that come to LEAD really understand that, at least in my opinion, that you never stop growing. No matter how much experience, there's always an opportunity to learn, elevate your education, and then hopefully being able to bring back everything that you gather on site as a part of LEAD back to your teams, and be the leader that attended
Absolutely.
LEAD.
So, you mentioned something that is very important, right? It's the continuous learning. We strongly believe that if you are to be a leader, you have to continue learning. And that's part of what LEAD is going to provide, right? A place. Think about it as a central hub of resources. So we expect to have additional speakers throughout the year. Additional, maybe, I don't know, I'm not going to say it out loud, but I will. Maybe a podcast, maybe a video series, right? Maybe a newsletter. Things that are coming so you can continue your growth. And the idea is based on these 6 pillars. You're going to have additional information that you can dive into. For example, let's say that I'm looking into the health and wellness component, and that's something that it's a priority for me in the next year. We'll have resources related to that front. But in the event that you have that itch of entrepreneurship, then we'll provide some resources on that front as well. So this is, I think, a win-win in all fronts for the participants, Felicia.
Oh, outstanding. And for ALPFA and its members, and thank you again, one of my favorite quotes, the unintelligent person is the individual who believes you graduate from growth. So thank goodness that's not us. We're so excited. We're so excited to keep learning. And then that being said, it seems as though, I can't wait to talk to you more on site about your world of experience. But knowing that you're a tech geek and that you run ExecuPath, you're a fantastic public speaker and communicator, very relatable as well. It's a key element, that human component that you carry so beautifully. How and what inspired the creation of this program? So I would love to know where Fernando Rosario is sitting when it was like, there's a couple gaps here, and I think that I can fill them.
Well, listen, Felicia, I can't take all the credit. I remember having this conversation with the Alpha team, the Alpha Familia. I remember having the conversation and receiving feedback from some of the other programs that I've participated on. And I vividly remember having the conversation with Damien, who's got such an amazing vision for the organization and the community, which is what's important to me, right? It's the organization is one thing, but Damien has such a vision and strategy for the community that I just got hooked into that conversation. I remember sitting down with Damien and having those conversations about what is the gap that we're trying to close. What are we trying to do? And I remember vividly talking about, hey, we have training for entry level. We have training for the students. We're providing a path, so you can potentially get a job. We have resources for you. And then we started having that conversation of individuals that are in their professional level that may or may not have access to programs like this one, where number one, you get to talk to like-minded individuals, people that are maybe in the same scenario that you have been. And by scenarios, I can mention multiple. And I remember this conversation, such as individuals that may be stuck in a certain position and are looking, so what's my next step? Others that don't have clarity on what should I be looking for in my next move, individuals that were looking for lateral moves, or individuals that were looking for a complete shift in industry, organization. So all of that came into play. And I remember Damien saying, yes, but we have got to look at this holistically. And that's when we started, throwing darts at, well, what about the professional EQ component of it? What about giving back to the community? What about receiving back from the community? Because we all talk about what the community is doing, but we have got to look in the mirror and say, what are we doing for the community? Better yet, what am I doing for the community? I also remember also sprinkling the conversation around, what about for those individuals that maybe want to go into the entrepreneurship route? Do we have resources for them? And all that came together. And kudos to Damien, right? He put all this together in a methodology. Yes, absolutely. Our own, very own Damien, in a methodology, including the 6 pillars that we just talked about. We started brainstorming. So what should it look like? And believe me, at first, some of those pillars were a bit more tricky than others. So what type of content should we include? What type of exercises? What type of workshops, seminars? What type of speakers should we bring into the table? And Damien and I had definitely one thing in mind, which was top of the class. Let's bring, high-powered speakers. Let's make sure that whoever is delivering content has actually been there, done that. They have experiences to provide. And listen, from one day to the next, Felicia, something that was in a napkin, and, a couple of drawings of the 6 pillars, the methodologies, how consultants, we work, right? So frameworks and squares and circles and whatnot, that's where the LEAD framework came about. And then we started fleshing that out for each of the pillars. What's important? What is the objective? What are we trying the audience to get out of it? And I have to say, over the last several years, we continue to improve. What additional materials can we add? We take feedback very seriously from the participants. What went right? What went wrong? I mean, let's admit it. We continue to enhance it and tweak it. So we're glad to say that that's how it came about. And that's why this year we're taking it another step further, which is creating the alumni group and so on and so forth. So that's how the whole thing started. Many, many years ago, in a couple of lunches, a couple of dinners, sitting in the room, just brainstorming ideas.
That's so exciting. I heard on site at Chapter Leadership Summit, Women of Alpha started with 4 women in a bathroom, where all the good ideas start. A bunch of ladies saying, what are we not doing? So I love that. I love how I have been a part of being able to see all of the things that we do here at Alpha grow, and LEAD is one of those big ones. So that being said, talking about the creation of it, taking all of your experience, the feedback, any gaps that we knew that we had, what are we doing? And then, okay, now what are we not doing? Based on your experiences in both facilitating those programs, and then I'm assuming attending many of like programs yourself, this tagline that we have that's great, Alpha LEAD is not just another professional development program, kind of looking at what's happening, what's setting LEAD apart, in your opinion. So how is it different?
That is a great question. So Felicia, number one, I would tell you is the sentiment of familia, right? Everyone in that room walks into the room. Number one, understanding that I'm not alone. Number one, right? There's other individuals that are and struggling is not the word, but other individuals that are looking to grow in different areas. Number three, it sets it apart because we do try to aim for the entire individual, right? This is not a particular program to say we're going to make you an expert. I'm going to make it up, right? In cybersecurity, we're not going to make you an expert in project management. We're not going to make you an expert on Six Sigma, for example. No, we're going to make you a holistic view of the program, which starts with you in the center. And many areas of development start with understanding the self-awareness. Where am I? Can I look at myself in the mirror and honestly say, where am I headed? Do I have my goals? So we start with the individual front and center. Because of that, then we kind of tailor the messaging to the individuals because some of the speakers are going to be, I'm going to use as an example, Felicia, they're going to be talking to you. You're going to feel that this message was for me. And the other speaker may be referring to Fernando based on where we are on our particular scenario. So that's one thing that sets it apart. Number two, the networking component. I'm not a big fan of the word networking per se because it makes it seem transactional, but to be in the room with such a group of leaders in their own rights, creating those connections that are going to be for a lifetime, right? After the LEAD programs in the past, I've seen individuals connecting, helping each other out, opening opportunities and doors for others. Had they not participated in LEAD, those connections may have never happened, or they would have taken a long time. And three, I think it sets it apart as well, is the caliber of the speakers that you will see in the room. They will look like us, they talk like us. I mean, they've been in our shoes, so you can actually relate. You can literally see yourselves in that position, which, in my opinion, is it's a view of inspiration, of motivation. It's something that you can literally sit back, learn, reflect, and say, I could be that person. I could be here delivering the session next year, or these are the certain steps that I need to take to get to the next level. So I think that alone, I mean, this is beyond all the things that we're going to have in surprise for you, but this sets us apart. There are many programs out there from a leadership development perspective. This is the one that I believe, from a Hispanic perspective, from the Alpha perspective, from individuals that are working in similar industries, this is the place for you.
Sold me. Sold. Sold. I'm going to be there. All my other responsibilities may have to take a side seat. No, I love that. I love the holistic approach. It seems as though, just based on your explanation and a lot of the amazing feedback that I have myself have received from participants and testimonials that have had the honor of participating, that sort of holistic approach and self-assessment that is difficult. And I think that idea that nothing changes unless you identify first that something needs to change. And so by putting people a little bit out of a comfort zone, allowing them the safe space to self-assess where they are versus where they want to go, and then a win-win situation in that, yes, even outside of the curriculum and the fantastic speaker representation, you are, yes, then surrounded by individuals that are going to create potential future mentors, this notion that it isn't what you know, it's who you know. And I myself personally can speak for me that the connections and networking opportunities, mentors, friends for life that I have met simply by being on site at convention are friendships and partnerships that I will hold very dear to me forever. So definitely.
You said something.
And you're one of them. So
thank you. And you said something
You're
really important, right? So we're going to laugh, we're going to cry, but we will get you out of your comfort zone. That is a fact. So if you're looking to participate, we will get you out of your comfort zone, because that's where we experience the most learning. This is where we grow. And as an added bonus, I was going to say, Felicia, remember, this is right before convention. So if you have any other plans, you may want to stick around for the convention component, which is going to happen over the next few days after the LEAD program.
I know. And that is a perfect segue to kind of my next piece. This year, anybody who's coming to LEAD on behalf of a partner, which is such an exciting place to be in your professional seat, that your partner believes in your tenure and space in your company enough to send you So thank you for all of our partnerships participating and sponsoring their employees. Along with that, those individuals are also already attending convention. But we have received the question quite a few times now. So what if I am in this seat where, I'm self-employed, I'm working for a smaller company, they don't have that business line. If I am not able to be sponsored by my company, am I still able to attend LEAD and participate?
Yes, and simple answer is yes, you are. Going to the website, going to the ALPFA website, and there are instructions on how you can apply, how you can register. Absolutely. Listen, we're opening this up. We believe it's such a great program that we're opening this up to anyone that wants to participate. I'll say it differently. Anyone that is seriously considering growing in their career, anyone that is looking to expand their role, their influence, their reach, their connections, their network. This is the program for you. So yeah, absolutely. Go visit the website, which is at the bottom of the screen. Go take a look at that. That's exactly right, Felicia. Go at the bottom of the screen. Check out that page. There's additional information, and you'll understand how to register. Very easy, very simple.
Perfect. And we are keeping, for those of you that have attended any Alpha Lives before, they are typically about 1 hour. We are looking forward to doing some more short form content with Fernando and hopefully some individuals who can share experiences from LEAD for those of you who are interested in joining us. There's only so much, Fernando, we know that we can sort of leak. We're keeping some things secret to Alpha and we can't give it all away before we get on site at convention. But as of right now, knowing what we know in the background, are there any sneak peeks or previews on topic sessions, any content that we're going to cover that you can share?
I'm just going to give you a sneak peek, Felicia, because to your point, right, we're still working out some really good conversations with some power speakers. But I will tell you the following without mentioning any names. I can tell you that we are going to have some authors in the room. So these are individuals that have taken it to the next level. So they've actually written how things are done. So we're going to get some authors. We will have some power speakers, individuals that do this for a living, individuals that actually have either started a company, have run the companies for many years, and are very successful at it. We're also going to make sure that we sprinkle in, as I said before, the health and wellness component to it. So several topics that you can expect to see. There are, recognizing and addressing burnout, the stress levels, because we all like to deliver, we perform. I mean, we're very good at what we do, but let's think about that mental health as well, because I think it's something that we need to address and how to be prepared for it. We're going to talk about data-driven decisions. That's just a sneak peek right there. Data-driven decisions. Definitely, we're going to have to talk about high power and high performing teams. What are some of the strategies, some of the successes? What are some of the things that you can take back to your day-to-day life to work on it? Definitely, we're going to talk about business mastery. I'm not going to tell you the names, but individuals that have done this for many, many years. And when you hear their names, there is no doubt, Felicia, that you'll be like, oh, I know who you're talking about. And I would love to listen in at least for 5 minutes into that conversation. We're going to have panels. We're going to have fireside chats. We are going to have best, and I think it's very important. This is not one of those programs where we're going to sit down, listen, be inspired, and that's it. No. You got to come in prepared to work. We will have exercises. We will have things for reflections. We will have activities where we're going to put the things that we talk about to the test. So this is not going to be a 2-day that you're going to get to coast for 2 days. Of course, we're gonna feed you right. There's going to be the lunch and your breaks, and you're going to get your coffee. Don't worry about that. But the hopefully the experience that I'm portraying here, you get the benefits of it. So I just mentioned a couple of the topics. I'll mention 1 or 2 more. So for example, creating multiple streams of income, which I think would be an attention grabber. How about persuasive communications, winning people over? That's one of the topics that I'm going to be talking about, and a conflict resolution. So having difficult conversations. How do you influence somebody else? One of my favorite topics. So Felicia, hopefully I gave you a little bit of a teaser right there.
Well, that was fantastic. I was going to say, if you're leading persuasive conversations, it would definitely make sense, because you got me on board for LEAD based on this one. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're leading that conversation. And then you also had me at data-driven decisions, because I think one of the huge things that I myself, if I was attending LEAD, would be so excited to experience, right, is that there's right and left brain. There's all these different studies on how we think and disc structure and all that type of stuff. But and if Damien's watching, I'm sure he is. He will love this, that he is data and he is left, he is right. I am creativity. But being able to be in a room with people that challenge that not natural side of your mind in terms of those pillars is where I am so excited to continue to be educated and grow in those areas that don't come naturally to me. And I think that that's a very safe environment that you all have done such a beautiful job at creating, that it doesn't mean, people are great at different things, but let's learn from each other's strengths and to amplify where I'm a little bit weak so that I can feel more supported in that space.
And I love it, Felicia. You said something very important too, right? The left and the right side of the brain. We are aiming with the 6 pillars that we have in the methodology to make sure that we are touching in topics and components of each side of the brain. Let's make you think differently.
Yeah.
Let's make sure. And by the way, you mentioned something else that I had forgotten. But yes, of course, we will have Damien do his appearance and we will be convincing Damien to speak to the class 1, 2, who knows, maybe a couple of times, because he always brings such a passion and energy to the conversation that I think we'll get to pepper him with questions as well.
Ooh.
I haven't confirmed this with him, but I guess we are now.
Well, this is so if he's watching, he just got voluntold.
He got voluntold, and there's no saying no to either you or me. So he will be there.
Yep, there we go. He will be there. He's fantastic. Let's see. I think if there's anything else we want to share about LEAD, we had saved some time for some Q&A. I have some beautiful individuals on my team in the background looking through some questions. And if not, I have some that have come my way if there's none from the audience. Let's see.
Ask away. Don't be
shy. And some of these I can take. But is there a virtual component to LEAD? And I can answer that. For anybody watching, no, there is not a virtual component to LEAD. Again, to Fernando's point, the sky is sort of the limit with this professional development program. So in terms of on-demand viewership, if there are any resources made available virtually, if at one point we do decide to have a virtual component or opportunity as a part of LEAD, that may be something that comes in the future. But as of right now and for this year, there is no virtual component. But go ahead.
And Felicia, I will only add to that, and thank you for the clarification. We are having those conversations. There is more to come when it comes to the LEAD program. We will have, for the alumni, there will be some virtual components, but sit tight. We'll talk about this over the year and whatnot, because there's some virtual things that we may be exploring. But for now, as Felicia said, that's not the virtual component that we're exploring, but because we find so much benefit of having individuals in the room exchanging ideas. Remember, we don't only have speakers. Everyone in the room is a speaker and a facilitator. We expect everyone to share their lessons learned, experiences in their tables, in their groups, in the entire room, which we expect to be rather large this time around.
Yes, fantastic. And then Gisela has that link down at the bottom, which answers, where do we sign up? How can I sign up? Of course, we would love it if you're an Alpha member as well. So you can double down and get your membership if you don't already have one. And then hopefully you decide to join us for convention as well, to Fernando's previous point. One of the last questions that I had on my side is I'm the national point of contact for this program and Diverge. So if anybody has any questions, Gisela can drop my LinkedIn. Feel free to contact me there. If I myself am a person who is sitting and identified that I qualify and am currently debating signing up for the program, in what words or phrases, like you've already convinced me, but if you had to make it super short, how would you be telling any individual questioning their addition to the program? How are they going to take the lead and leap?
Oh my Lord, I would say, what are you waiting for? So number one, there is not another program like this one out there. Number two, you can, if you were to ask any of the alumni, you are going to get some great feedback. So don't take it from me. Don't take it from Felicia. Talk to any of our alumni members for the last 3-4 years. They will tell you how great it is. You can actually see it on LinkedIn. They've posted things such as saying, this was a great program. I'm glad that I was part of it. So if you're hesitating for a second, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? We're going to give you 2 days packed with content, a curriculum that has been curated, speakers that you will recognize that have tons of experience. There is no question, it's not in doubt if they know what they're doing. So what do you have to lose? So you're going to spare, let's call it 16 hours with us, and you can gain a lot of value in multiple areas, personal and professional. If anything else, you're going to make connections that are going to last a lifetime. As Felicia was saying, these are connections that are going to be able to help you, or you're going to be able to help them. Last but not least, how about giving back to the community? Get into the ALPFA, and you're going to have a chance, a perfect chance to give back to the community, mingle with them, and understand what other opportunities are out there. Last but not least, what if you can identify one thing that you did not know existed out there? One connection you had no idea was out there waiting for you to meet them. One topic, one particular session that could change your life. Then again, I'm going to go back to, I don't know what you're thinking. It's 2 days. Pull the trigger.
Yeah. Yeah. And in summary, it's not possible. You're not leaving better than you got there. It's just not possible. You're walking away with something regardless. So yes, what are you waiting for? Our team will be there an extended amount of time for the convention. Fernando himself will be there on site and so ready to enjoy convention. The LEAD program, Diverge is happening as well. So excited to see all of you ALPFA members alike, new and tenured. This is, again, a short form version of ALPFA Live. I don't see any more questions that have come through, and I got through mine via email that I wanted to add to this conversation and make sure we touched on. So I would love to thank you again. I can't wait to see you in Las Vegas and hopefully have a coffee chat and learn more about your beautiful life story. It's an honor, a pleasure to sit with you here and always. If there's anything else you have for everyone watching, the floor is yours.
Felicia, thank you so much for the opportunity. I am a big supporter of the ALPFA, a big supporter of the entire staff of ALPFA, which are doing a fantastic job. And thank you for the opportunity to give back to the community. Thank you for the opportunity to allowing me to speak at the LEAD program, which I think is a fantastic program. Thank you for the opportunity to connect. So again, if you will be at convention, if you will be part of LEAD, look us up. Look at Felicia, look at myself. Let's have some coffee. Why not? With that, I'll turn it back to you, Felicia, so we can close out. And thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here with you again.
Thank you. The honor is mine. And ALPFA National, ALPFA, thank you so much for having me. Look forward to seeing you on site at convention. And again, if you need Fernando, myself, or anybody else on my team, we can't wait to connect. I hope everybody has a fabulous weekend.